10 years. 10 years, and we are still talking about this game. Okay, what is on your head?
Nothing. This is my face. And I'm offended by that question.
Is this because you're embarrassed that I'm looking at Sonic 06 considering you debuted in it?
What? No, only Cardboard Silver would be embarrassed by that. You see, I am not him. I am Cardboard Sliver.
Why are you doing this?
I am the guardian of Sonic 06, and it is my sworn duty to combat you as you review this game to restore honor to the name of Sonic 06 by allowing you to see the good within it.
Okay, first, it never had any honor to begin with. Second, why not just do this as Silver?
I'm not Silver. Only a noob would argue that Sonic 06 has value, and he's not a noob.
But you're saying you are.
No, I'm saying Sliver is. I mean that I am, but I'm not, because it does have value. And you may think I'm a noob now, but in time, you will see the value of this game, hidden away, buried beneath 10 years of criticism.
But I already think it has too much hate. I mean, people have been building it up as this big pile of crud for over a decade now.
Oh, really?
Don't get me wrong, I still think it's a bad game, but in some ways I also think it's underrated.
So, I'm not a noob for thinking it has value?
No.
Okay. Well then, I guess I should tell you, I'm actually Cardboard Silver.
What a surprise.
Sliver was only my alter ego. He could argue in the game's favor and take criticism from people who hate the game. That way, I could keep my highly esteemed reputation.
Uh-huh. How'd you take that mask off, by the way? You don't have hands. So I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but Sonic 06 is kind of underrated to me. It has some real issues, and the fact that Sega rushed the game, using only half its staff, really shows. But after 10 years of being hated on, it's developed a bit of a reputation that's hard to overlook. Of course, when it first came out, people hated on it for being terrible, but over time, more and more people have talked about it and hated on it, and base our opinions a little more on what people have said rather than our fresh outlook on the game. A decade of hate really can cloud judgment. People have even gone as far as to say it might be the worst game of all time. Yeah, a game from Sega, a company that once rivaled Super Mario, a game that I have played through on my YouTube channel and have enjoyed despite how bad it is, a game with interesting ideas and a nice variety of gameplay styles, even if they're not done that well, and a game with one of the greatest musical tracks in its series, is sometimes called the worst game. Worse than Superman 64. A game with no gameplay variety, a game that's awful without being enjoyable, a game with no musical value, and yet somehow Sonic 06 can be worse. I mean, if you dissect Sonic 06, putting aside any other people's opinions, you can easily see it's awful, but not the worst game. And it should be obvious regardless. Since it came out, tons of people have been playing this game on their YouTube channels because, bad as it is, it's still playable. Very playable. Superman 64 and tons of other games, you don't see hardly anyone playing because they're just not playable. Superman 64 is broken and not fun, while Sonic 06 is broken but can still be plenty of fun. And that should be obvious by just how many people actually still play it today. Now you may say that people don't often play Superman 64 because it's old, but again, we're almost a decade since Sonic 06 came out, and we're still playing it and people are still watching it. Superman 64 is just an example. There are tons of other games, not just one that people have said are the worst of all time. Aquaman Battle for Atlantis, E.T. on the old Atari, Bubsy 3D, the CDI games, all exist and are just not fun to play at all. Yet, we are choosing a game with the same gameplay mechanics and style of the highly esteemed Sonic Adventure series to be the worst. Now I know a lot of you are saying, oh come on Peter, gameplay in Sonic 06 for Sonic Level is way different from those of Sonic Adventure games, but as I'll dive into in a little while, it's really not that different at all. And even as a broken mechanic, it's still a fun one. A lot of you are probably scratching your heads and wondering why I can say this with millions of people hating on the game all the time. There must be a reason that people would say it's the worst, right? Well, reasons they say it's awful, yeah, there's some very good reasons. But I believe the reason that they say it's the worst is really only because of the influence of all the hate it's gotten over 10 years, and because it's a Sonic game. Sonic used to be huge, and the bigger you are, the harder you fall, right? What's the use of making fun of some random Superman game that no one really cared about for 10 years, when you can hate on a game from a highly esteemed and well-known video game series?
It's no use!
Yes, thank you. It just makes sense to pick on a game that people actually care about and get mad about, but nobody got mad about Superman 64 for ruining the Superman series, because it's just one game that really is a very tiny part of the Superman series.
Wow, you really do think this game is underrated. Won't people just call you a delusional fanboy for saying these things, though?
Yeah, I'm sure some will, but it sucks that it has to be that way. I think the internet is finally starting to grasp the concept that everything we say is just our opinion, and that just because we say what we think doesn't mean that we're saying it's factually true. Despite how it seems that we're all getting better at accepting each other's outlooks, there's still some prejudice and narrow-mindedness. If two people disagree on a mediocre game like Sonic Heroes, as an example, I'm not necessarily saying it's mediocre if one person loves it and the other person doesn't, things are different from if they disagree about Sonic 06. People have an easier time respecting each other's opinions when it's about something with less of a reputation. But when someone disagrees to some extent with the hate that a game gets, when people have been hating on it for 10 years, all of a sudden that guy's opinions just aren't opinions at all. They're just wrong. Nobody seems to remember that opinions are just opinions, and there is no wrong or right even when it comes to games that are notoriously good or bad. But what about reviewers, or people who make top 10 lists, or what about if every gamer voted on the best and worst games? What about so many people who say that Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game, or how Superman 64 is the worst game? In the end, no matter how well-known an opinion might be, or how many people share the same opinion, it's still an opinion, and no one can really say it's right or wrong. There's just no way that anyone can say that Ocarina of Time being the best Zelda game is a fact, even if everybody thinks it. And the same goes for everything else. Heck, everything I'm saying right now is just my opinion.
Okay, but is this video about philosophy and opinions or Sonic 06?
Good point. And to prove to everybody that Sonic 06 is underrated, we're going to go and point out as many ridiculous and dumb things about it as we can, and basically just make fun of it.
And that will prove it's underrated how exactly?
You will see.
Why can't you just tell me like any normal person would do?
Tell you? Ha! I will sing it to you. Actually, I won't. I'm not sure why I said that. I won't sing it to you or tell you.
Again, why?
Because then we won't have a reason to hilariously make fun of this thing. So sit tight, and we're going to bring logic to a game that has completely forgotten that logic actually exists. First off, what's with the name? See, we can make fun of this game before it even begins. Sega said they wanted to call it Sonic the Hedgehog because it would represent Sonic in his 3D era. And in concept, yeah, I can see why that would make sense, but wouldn't you think that after the game's staff was cut in half to work on Sonic and the Secret Rings, and it was rushed for a holiday release, and since many glitches were reported from the testing teams but were completely ignored, that maybe, just maybe, somebody would have thought, you know, this is gonna end up being a pile of shish. So the story opens with Silver and Blaze, who live in a world that is being tormented by an undefeatable being, and they spend their days trying to find a way to save their world.
How can we completely destroy Iblis?
You need to find the being originally responsible for this catastrophe.
Yes, trust the creepy man with no mouth.
And you have this person to blame.
Okay, so I get that the Emerald is all magic and powerful and stuff, but why is Sonic burning? Was that the only stock image that Mephiles could find to show Silver?
I see it!
Yep. He sees it. Yep, he sees it alright.
I see it!
I'll send us back in time.
Yeah, so creepy man with no mouth takes you into his house, shows you a burning hedgehog, and then asks you to kill said hedgehog before throwing you and your friend into the past, where he just ditches you? Would you have eaten the candy if he offered it to you?
Blaze was supposed to keep an eye on me. I blame her.
From the looks of this cutscene, I'd say that Sega forgot they also had a game to make when having someone animate this, so this is where most of the game's budget went. And into Eggman's weight loss program, which clearly still needs some work.
Wow, that's a pretty snazzy performance there. I'm Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog!
So Sonic saves Elise, but then he doesn't, and Silver watches from a distance.
Now I've got you, Sonic!
Hey!
It's about time I finally caught you again.
Okay, so Amy, who apparently has telepathic abilities to track Sonic, was running on a rooftop, and then she saw Silver and thought he was Sonic, despite the real Sonic being 20 yards away. Sad thing is, this is kind of normal for Amy. And I was complaining about Sonic Boom Amy a few months ago. That face you make when a random girl runs over and starts rubbing hair grease on you. So Amy kidnaps Silver and they both run off to find Sonic.
Our last communication with our agent was 26 hours ago. We expect an immediate rescue.
Shadow really should stop working for Gun. I mean, they said go into Eggman's base, destroy some robots, make your presence known, then we'll give you your mission.
I have no words to express how grateful I am for your help.
It was at this moment that Sonic knew he messed up. And it was at this moment that I vomited. So Silver finds Sonic and tries to kill him because mouthless guy, and Amy turns on him for trying to kill Sonic because despite both searching for the same person, neither of them knew who the other was looking for. You know, in real life, people talk. When two people are searching for the same person, considering they both know who that person is, but they don't share that information with each other, problems happen. Don't make the same mistake that these two people made. Use basic communication. Also, Sonic saved Elise and brought her back to the castle that she got kidnapped at before, so she could get kidnapped again? Well done, Sonic. So Eggman sends Sonic a message via a Knuckles carrier saying that Sonic should come to his base to trade his Chaos Emerald for Elise. Tails says it's probably a trap, but Sonic says,
I'm going.
First off, where did you think Eggman was keeping Elise? In an outhouse? Second, you know this is a trap, you fall for the trap, and you lose your emerald, and you get sent to the future. What was your plan? So this game has a lot of explaining the lore and background. Some people might get bored of that, but I honestly find it kinda nice. I like how the game takes players seriously enough to know that things need explaining. When they bother to explain the plot, they make you feel like you know what's going on, even at the risk of boring some people. The only issue is, pretty much everything I've been saying for the past, I don't know, couple minutes, has been plot holes. Yeah. So Silver and Blaze find the emerald that Eggman took from Sonic laying in the snow. I guess Eggman should keep better track of his things, considering how he just set up this whole trap to get the thing from Sonic in the first place, and he needs it for his time machine, and he just lost it in the snow. Speaking of keeping track of his things, Amy wanders into his base, yeah, I guess, and helps Elise escape from her unlocked room, where they go back to her castle, where Eggman once again captures her. You know, Elise, I know you're the one being saved here, because you're kind of worthless in many cases, but you think after you got kidnapped from the same place 3 times, you would maybe tell your rescuer not to bring you there? Maybe? Oh, but no kidnapping happens before Amy and Elise have a nice chat about how they're both in love with Sonic, and yet, as was the case with Silver, neither of them know who each other is talking about, making for yet another ridiculous situation that doesn't happen in normal life, where people actually talk to each other, and where Sonic isn't the only eligible bachelor. Now let's speed things up here, because we're still only halfway through the story. Dang, it's long. So Sonic and pals get sent back in time, very coincidentally run into Shadow and Rouge, who just happen to be sent at the same time and placed by Mephiles, and they need Chaos Emeralds to get back, so they find them, and then they leave, but Shadow got distracted and stayed behind, and is trapped there now because he doesn't have an emerald, so Rouge has to send an emerald to him in the future, so he can get back, and so he does. Silver and Blaze finally question why they have to kill Sonic, and Mephiles doesn't tell them, so, oh well, better just kill him, and Sonic saves Elise, again, and most likely was going to bring her back to the castle, again, but this time Eggman just takes her right away, probably getting bored of Sonic's predictability, and Silver tries to do this to Sonic. I don't know what it is. Then Shadow saves him and bullies Silver around a little bit, and then they go into the past and find Mephiles and Iblis and stop them, which accomplishes absolutely nothing. And we're still only 2/3 done.
Princess Elise!
Okay, so let me get this straight. Sonic saved Elise again, brought her back to the castle again, and this time, this isn't even the dumb part. This time, instead of Eggman going and kidnapping her, just like he does every single time, he sends her a message bribing her to give herself up for the safety of her people. Oh, and then his ship crashes for no reason. Isn't irony frustrating? So Sonic goes back in time and saves Elise, and Silver and Blaze do something, which I really don't understand, and Mephiles kills Sonic, and Elise really seems to care. Then that apparently unleashes the flames of disaster and says everyone to this purple purgatory place, and then they have to get the emeralds back, kissing ensues, and no, I'm not commenting on it, and everyone goes Super Saiyan, and then Elise must blow out the flames that are just in a candle now. So I guess it was really pointless for them to be inside of her to begin with if they could just be on a candle. Either that or she's just as worthless as a candle, and I'm kind of leaning towards that one. So she blows out the flames, reversing time back to the beginning of the game, so none of this ever happened. And Sega can rest easy because none of it ever happened again. Oh, but since time is reversed, I guess the flames are in Elise again, and Eggman is going to kidnap her again, and Silver and Blaze are stuck in their ruined future. Again. Did I just watch 2 hours of what apparently became absolutely nothing?
Well, I guess I have a question. Or 100.
No time for questions, because now it's time to play everyone's favorite game, Follow That Emerald, where we track each individual emerald throughout the entire cutscenes of the game. Don't ask me why, we're just gonna do that, so let's jump right in. Starting at the beginning of the game, you see Mephiles has the purple emerald. In the future, Elise has the dark blue one and passes it to Sonic, who eventually gives it to Eggman, and is seen lying in the snow outside of Eggman's base, and was supposedly inside the robot that Silver and Blaze blew up, so now Silver has it. Then jumping to the future, Mephiles still has the purple emerald, Rouge finds the green one, and Sonic finds a bright blue one. And Shadow and he use it to make a portal back to the past, but both emeralds vanish from their hands. Okay. Then Rouge has the green one. I guess she took it from Shadow when he wasn't looking, and she gives it to Omega to bring to Shadow in the future. But since he uses that one to get everyone back in time in the first place, giving it to Omega would make it so that they don't have it to get back to the past. So that would kind of change the timeline, but oh well, thank goodness the timeline forgot to change. So then Shadow gets back and fights Silver, who has the dark blue emerald found in the snow, and he and Shadow, who still has the green one, make a portal back in time where they see Elise's dad has the white one, which floats in the air, and I guess just stays there since nobody actually grabbed it. Then Silver gives Elise the blue one before he leaves to go back to the future, so then she can give it to Sonic later so he can give it to Eggman so that he can lose it to Silver. For some reason it doesn't appear that Silver has it anymore, even though this time around he already knows about Mephiles, so he didn't have to go back in time and give it to Elise, so he would have still had it, but oh well, maybe it's just in his back pocket. And now he has the white one. I guess he took it from the past, so Sonic goes back in time and gives his bright blue emerald to Silver, who also has the white one. Later, Mephiles has a yellow emerald that I guess he just had for some reason, I don't know. Then he takes Shadow's green one, even though he already had two, since he also had the purple emerald, but I guess he forgot about that one, oh well. Maybe he just misplaced it. Meanwhile, Silver and Blaze are using the emeralds that they have to stop Iblis. Silver has a white one and a blue emerald, Blaze absorbs Iblis or vice versa, and leaves Silver with the bright blue and white emerald. Then Mephiles has the purple one, but I'm not sure why they're showing us this. I mean, we already kinda knew he had it, and he uses it to kill Sonic, I think, and then it's just sitting on the ground over there. Oh, but then he's holding it. Right, okay. Then Shadow and Rouge and Omega have the yellow and green one, and I guess they took it from Mephiles earlier, but they never showed that, so I don't know. But then all of a sudden Mephiles just has all of them? Wait, so now nobody has them because he can just teleport them to himself? Well, I guess that's easier to keep track of. So he had them, and he used them, and he just threw them away? What? So I kept track of everything for absolutely nothing? Well, that feels really pointless.
So anyway, are you gonna tell me how criticizing the game actually helps people relate to how it's underrated?
Well, I was gonna say that because I can make fun of the game and recognize every problem with it, and yet I still think it has more value than people think, I thought maybe it would show that you can still like and value things that you think are ridiculous or really bad, but I just wasted about 10 minutes on talking about a story that just gets reversed, and keeping track of emeralds that just get tossed away because no one actually cares about them.
But I think you got your point across.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I actually want to make that point anymore.
What? But that's why we made this video in the first place.
Yeah, but now it's just making me feel like I wasted time. I mean, maybe it's not really any good after all.
No, but it is.
But is it really?
Why are you just now changing your mind about this? Cardboard Mephiles? Wait, you exist?
Yes, and with the power of the overly complicated and pointless story of Sonic 06, I have the power to make anyone feel pointless and turn against the game. As you can see, I've already afflicted the weird guy who talks to cardboard.
I can hear you.
But why would you make people dislike this game? You debuted in it too.
Because this game's notoriety has brought me fame and fortune.
Fortune?
Okay, just fame. This game is known for its awfulness, and in turn has made me known across the gaming universe. People like you who try to make the game seem only mildly bad threaten my reign, and will be stopped.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But what do I care? I'm mad at a video game.
There is no escape from this game's depressing grasp.
This video is far from over.
No, actually, there's only a minute or so left.
But it's a two-parter.
Oh, well, what can you do to stop me?
Not what I can do. But what Sliver can do!
Why?
Because masks are cool.
Hey, what is up guys? Peter here. Thanks a ton for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, feel free to give it a like to let me know. I upload videos like this almost every day, so go ahead and subscribe if you're into that kind of a thing. If you want to contact me directly or stay up to date with upcoming videos, check out my social medias. The links to those are in the description. Now I leave you with this music from DJ BassFox28, who provides most of the music for my videos. You can check him out in the description or by clicking the annotation to the left. Thanks again for watching, and as always, have yourselves a wonderful day.